Well, hello everybody, and welcome back to Magic and Miracles, where you learn how to be the magician of your life. My name is Anna, and I created Magic and Miracles in order to help people of all walks of life achieve their manifestation goals, whatever those might be. True story. All the information from me is below. So, welcome everybody to my new channel, Magic and Miracles Inc. I'm ever so excited. And for those who don't know me, please go check out my work at my old channel. The handle is Magic and Miracles, spelled out. For technological issues, shall we say, I was prompted and inspired by my higher self to start this channel, to start on a new journey. I have been on YouTube for 3 years, been coaching for 10 years. And so this is a brand new channel. If you want to get familiar with my prior work, you can do so. There's a plethora of audios as well as videos. But on this channel, I wanted to introduce myself to those who are new, and please subscribe if I resonate with you. So in this audio, I'm going to talk about myself and who I am, just so we're familiar with each other. Hello, my name is Anna Elizabeth. That's my full name. I'm a Russian-born American. I had to drop my very long Russian last name to make it easier for people to address me properly. True story. And it kind of works because it's easy to remember and easy to pronounce. But my first name was always Anna. So I came to United States when I was 17 years old. It was my big dream, huge big dream, since I saw Marilyn Monroe in a movie late at night when I was like 4 or 5 years old, sneaking up on my parents because I wasn't able to sleep. And I said to myself then, I have to be where she is. I don't care where that is, but she looks sensational, darling. And so this dream of mine came true when I was 17. I came here to model, to study. I have a degree in journalism. This was my a way of appeasing my parents that I was going to go to New York and model and act and do other things. But if at the same time I had a degree being worked on, they were a little bit easier on me, so to speak. Not that I really cared because I was in New York and they were over there, but more about that later. So I modeled for 10 years since I was 15, 2 years in Russia, and then once coming to New York. And obviously, where there's modeling, there's acting, but I also wanted to act as well. And I mean, taking acting classes since I was like 11, etc. So that was my world. That was the destination, so to speak, until such time when I was about 28, 29, and was in a very unhealthy relationship, the most unhealthy and abusive relationship you could possibly imagine, that I actually realized none of this is actually pleasing to me. Certainly the modeling was not. And I realized why I was not excelling in my acting endeavors. I mean, I did have work. It wasn't that. It's easy to get work, but the kind of work that you get. Okay. So facing a temporary depression, you could say, in those few months, I realized I was off track. I was not following my passion. And I begged on my knees to God, to the universe, to the angels, to whoever would listen, to the higher power. And I grew up into religions, so I'm half Jewish, half Orthodox Christian. My mom is the Jewish side. And so I do believe in God. I did believe in God in that sense back then, and in the universe. I don't know that I have the same understanding that people do, most people, shall we say, where they identify God as a deity, as some kind of a person. I think it's just energy. All is energy. So I was very desperate and feeling very powerless and broken down at that point. Not only I was unhappy with my work, and in fact couldn't bring myself to go to work anymore. That's how depressed I became. But also, of course, the relationship was an absolute disaster, and I couldn't believe I was in the middle. So I was literally praying on my knees one day, and I said, God, universe, just take me out of the situation. I will do whatever. And in the inspiration, in this kind of like channeling mode, when asked by my then drug addict boyfriend, which I didn't know he was on drugs, truth be told. I knew he would smoke weed incessantly, but he was on much harder drugs that I realized, towards the end of our relationship, and which is why I finally had the guts to leave after 3 years, 3.5 years, something like that. And when he asked me, I was not premeditating on the answer. I was not really thinking. In fact, I was begging for an answer to what to do. But the answer came and I blurted it out. And that's what I mean by channeling. It felt as if somebody else said that for me. But I said sewing machine. That's what I want for my birthday. But now, normally, I would ask for like a handbag, shoes, this and that, maybe just money, But in this case specifically, I wanted a sewing machine. And as soon as I said it, I said, well, this is powerful. Holy shit, bananas, here we are, superstar. And so, long story short, I started my fashion company, had the guts to leave the drug addict ex-boyfriend. But at the same time, I realized, and did very well, by the way, not having a website, not having proper training, prior training. Of course, I took classes, I watched YouTube like everybody who wants to get familiar, but I took proper classes as well. And since then I've hired, people who work for me. But the thing is that internally I was so destroyed by this relationship. And there were others prior to that, but this was the culmination of misery itself. And I have to say, at that point, I was very insecure. I understood that other people found me attractive and interesting to be around, but my own self-esteem and my own self-worth was, nothing short of being in the toilet. I'm telling you this right now. One must be with the self-esteem in the toilet if they're going with a person for 3.5 years who is abusive. All right? And that was me. And that's a lot of my clients now. Not a lot, but, some, okay, in abusive relationships. And that's thankfully became one of my fortes to help people in abusive relationships based on my own example. So see how later on, listen, the pain, it turns to gold, is all I can say. So I started doing my own deep dive. And I've researched, I've studied, I've read every author. Watched all the YouTube videos that interested me. Now, I do not resonate with surface level anything. I did the greats, okay? I did, the Joe Dispenzas of the world, the Greg Bradens of the world, the physicists that actually are advanced and proven, scientists like Einstein wrong, or rather expanding on his theories. I did the deep dive to really understand, okay, not only myself and how my emotions operated, confirmation from the outside, not for nothing, cannot even make this shit up, how my emotions operated, which is really important, is what it is, but also how the world operated at large. How the fuck did I end up here? Okay, basically put. And I started realizing that actually there was a lot of deep-seated anger, resentment, sadness, real just struggle underneath it all to accept myself and love myself. And anger and resentment towards those people who throughout my life up until that point, up until age 28, 29, were really abusive towards me, starting with my mother. All right. My mom, she was and is a narcissist, really malicious and malignant narcissist. Confirmation again, can't make this shit up. And she was the number one person who instilled in me the belief that I was absolutely worthless, and until or unless I pleased somebody, starting with her, of course. And so, needless to say, this ended up in disastrous propositions for me when it came to relationships, because it's not about the idea of pleasing another and putting up with abuse to be in a relationship. It's about loving yourself first and stepping into a relationship as a whole person. And I was not a whole person by any stretch of the imagination. I don't know if I was even half of a person at that point. I didn't know who I was in that sense. Just anybody could come up to me and say something or whatever and shake my confidence, or the lack thereof in that case, because if you really have confidence, nobody can really shake it. And so I really became obsessed about the idea of becoming my real true self, because I remembered when I was a child, growing up, maybe 6 years old, is when I started having these visions, okay, what they would call visions, but what I called them the encounters with the other side. In other words, the world was invisible to other people, was very fucking visible to me. And I've had these encounters, and certain things happened to me that I completely at that point forgot about, but that I reminded myself of during, the deep dive, and kind of recalled what that feeling was like. Being supported by the universe, being loved by the universe. I knew my mother didn't love me, but I had made this connection with the universe, with the other side, with my guardian angels so strongly, so powerfully, that I've made it through my childhood, sane and somewhat collected. Yes, I had my personal issues, but I came out of it a good person. Okay, I did not become another abuser, is what I would encounter abusers, because that wound was unhealed. But I managed to come out of it intact, in that I didn't harm anybody. And I feel like, not for nothing, but some people, it's difficult to not become bitter when one after the other person literally abuses you. So I congratulate everybody who's listening, who's been through abuse and hasn't become bitter. But it's the self-esteem issue that really is important for you to understand and really to start working on. So that was my obsession. I need my self-esteem back. I need my dream back. I need my childhood energy back, which was the most powerful connection to the universe, to my guardian angels. Certainly, it completely revolutionized my life. That year that I spent deep diving, from the moment that I left my drug addict ex-boyfriend to the moment that, my business skyrocketed. First of all, the first year I made more money in 1 year than I ever made in modeling in a year. I got a beautiful apartment. I got my business. I was a completely different person, as it were. And yes, I'm not going to sit here and say that on my own, in a year's time, I completely wiped out all my wounds. It took me a couple of years, okay, to be perfectly honest, 2 to 3 years, something like this. But it's only because, and here's the thing, I looked for help on the outside, in other coaches that I could find at that time. It was around 2010, 2011, the year was, and even therapists. But I did not resonate with anybody. I didn't really feel like anybody truly gave a shit, to be honest with you. All right. I really felt like they were just showing up for the paycheck. They truly didn't give a shit. And in fact, one of the coaches, in his kind of, I don't know, mistaken comfort with me, to be able to say such things, said to me, in fact, you know what? I don't really care about these people. They're all kind of like really old brats with their problems. And this is a coach that exists right now. Okay. In secret, he told me this, that, here I am kind of trying to hire him for something that could potentially help me, create a new world for me, a new life. And here I am listening to this bullshit. And I have to say that since then, since coming on YouTube 3 years ago, I've encountered and seen quite a few coaches that basically have the same attitude. They're just there for the paycheck. And that's really disheartening. parenthesis here. Really, really disheartening. I feel like you become a coach once you've created something of your own, with your own examples, with your own success stories, with your own life that kind of shows what you've done. Okay, not because you've studied Neville Goddard for fucking I don't know how long and memorized all of the teachings that he taught or somebody else is teaching, memorized and regurgitated them. That's not a coach, that's a regurgitator, that's a trained monkey. Anybody can do it. A real coach comes from experience and again has their own life to prove what they're talking about. So, but because I did the deep dive myself and ended up doing it myself, basically, because it totally just like get me away, as far away as possible from these fake people. There is this kind of really superficial layer in the manifestation community of coaches and therefore there are clients who have been convinced that it's a superficial game. It is not. It's a deep dive. Okay. And during that time, unbeknownst to me, I was actually tweaking and perfecting my own coaching program that I will later will be implementing on my channel, which is the Magic and Miracles channel that I was talking about. Because I first started that channel to discuss my own esoteric ideas, simply to discuss things, not to become a coach, just to kind of help people organize their thoughts, to have their spirits be higher, and just kind of offer some ideas after COVID. I think it was during COVID, something like that, that came in 21. Certainly, I started kind of playing around with these recordings, and inevitably, I was asked to coach, and that's how I started my coaching business on YouTube. And in order for it to work, I had to create a way for people to digest easier what I had to do in years, essentially. So everything that I've studied, perfected for myself, and everything that kind of like the summary of everything that actually works without fucking yourself over, for the lack of better verbiage, and going the superficial way, that's what's within my signature coaching program. And it's, I mean, meticulously and immaculately designed just to walk you through your mama drama panorama first, to disconnect from the emotions, to process those emotions, to let go of that timeline, and to rewrite who you actually are. But who you actually are, the golden Buddha, as I refer to this ultimate version of you. This has nothing to do with religion, so please don't get carried away or offended or anything like that. I use it as a symbolism. A golden Buddha represents this pristine person that is within you right now. So to get back in touch with your ultimate version, you really have to say goodbye to a lot of things that unfortunately other people taught you. Again, whether that's your mom, whether that's your dad, whether that's your past lovers, it truly doesn't matter. This nobody did on YouTube when I first came along. Since then, there's a person who tried to copy me desperately and failed, because this work, as I've mentioned, actually requires a person to go through these steps themselves in their lives and to really illustrate with their own examples what was achieved, not just talking about it emptily without your own expertise and without your own examples. And what I really want to say here is you really should dig deeper when you're hiring a coach, and you really should find out more about them, what they have done. Okay, what are the actual testimonies, not just the fake comments that they may be writing themselves or the fake testimonies. Okay, some proof that actually, and resonance. Of course, truth has a different resonance than lies. Lies are very kind of like superficial, shallow, don't resonate so well. There isn't a lot of depth. It doesn't sound like this person knows what they're talking about. So be very diligent with your money. If you're going to invest in somebody, please invest in somebody who actually knows what the fuck they're talking about, and listen to your intuition. So this program is infallible for this very reason. Now, back to a little bit about myself and my coaching. The way that my personality works, and I'm sure, people realize that I'm not the soft, sugar plummy bubblegummy, kind of ditzy, glittery coach. No, not at all. I'm here for results. I'm here for results. And my direct personality really does work very well with people who want to achieve results. I'm not here to play games. I'm not here to dilly dally or to take you for a ride. Okay. I have respect for people because I went through this journey myself and was really disappointed in the quality of coaches out there. Okay, just this completely apathetic attitude, or the attitude of I'm using other people to just make money. It's not how I operate at all. I actually want for you to succeed. I actually want you to be able to say, yeah, I finally get it now, and it's not that complicated. Because I feel like a lot of people really do make things tremendously complicated. The only reason is they don't understand it themselves. If you don't understand something, you will make it sound super complicated. All right? If you understand something, it's very simple and it's very easy. And that's what I'm all about. Just bringing it down to earth and explaining, okay, what the hell do I have to do right now? And it's very easy. And so the coaching goes from processing emotions, discussing your mama drama panorama, then creating the space for the new person that you are, and whatever you're working on in that sense will fix itself. Yes, we can address that issue specifically, like a specific person or your career or your money. In that sense, there is no specific area I coach in. It's just a specific person is a really powerfully popular topic because people are under the impression that it's very difficult. And this is exactly why I started talking about this topic, because after leaving my drug addict ex-boyfriend and having done the work that I did, which was very difficult. Listen, this is not for the faint of heart. I just want to warn, all right? Because the ego really loves easy and comfortable. But your soul really craves progression, really craves going forward with things, to elevate your game, to augment, to transcend, to ascend. You over here with your superficial things, if that's what you're doing right now, you're just appeasing your ego, but you're not really making any progress. So it's not for the faint of heart, but you'll be ever so glad you did it, because 2 years down the line, not even 2 years, within the year, I would say, I saw improvements of me doing it myself. Now, it doesn't have to take a year or 2 years. It really doesn't. Because it really does help if you have somebody who's already done it, and therefore they can give you shortcuts. Okay, that's just the name of the game of having somebody to help you. Okay, but immediately within a year's time, I mean, that was pretty immediate for me. You should have seen me. All right. I was a melting ice cream on the floor. Even though this person was abusive to me, it was the hardest thing in the world to say goodbye to him. Makes no sense, I know, but a lot of people who have been in abusive relationships will probably resonate. But when I started doing the work and the deep dive and really, oh my God, I mean, processing emotions galore. There were nights that I just spent sobbing and crying and being angry and doing this, that, and the other. And it really just felt like there was not going to be an end to it. But there was, obviously. But there was a lot of energy that left me, a lot of grief, over the kind of like the lost possibility of being in a healthy romantic relationship. All right. But I did see improvements in my dating life. There were tremendous improvements. I started dating people, women, excuse me, men, women. What? I did not say that. Sorry. I started dating men. I was thinking about something else. Uh, started dating men that were of high quality, just really mesmerizing, but on par with me. Like, this is something I could really work with. They were really nice to me, so much so that I almost felt guilty. I'm not exaggerating. It's just the truth, guys. All that it took is just to take a look at what I really felt like, what I really wanted, what makes me happy. But it sounds really simplistic. It takes a lot more than that. Okay. Then I decided to be in a relationship with somebody. Okay, maybe just casually this and that. I had to warm myself up to be in an actual relation. But let me tell you something. Never again did I encounter a person, okay, in the same, with the same energy, in the same manner, that treated me all this time before. How else can I say it? The same caliber of men never reappeared in my life. Caliber is a very high praise for losers and complete degenerates, okay, as it were. But that quality of men never reappeared in my life ever again. If there was ever even a suggestion of somebody being of the same energy, I cut them off right away with confidence and complete, being self assured that no, that's not my energy anymore. I'm the golden Buddha and I deserve much better. And so this is what I'm here teaching in my coaching. And I understand for a lot of people it's very hard because I've met a lot of people who, through coaching on YouTube in particular, before coaching on YouTube, I should mention, sorry, let me just complete this thought first. I've met a lot of people through coaching on YouTube who resonate with my story a lot because either the mother was abusive, neglectful, what have you, or the father was. Okay. And this speaks to a lot of people and they don't know how to get out of it. And I really feel for them for two reasons. One, I've been there myself, and two, I can help you. Okay, so when you can do something about it, like you're really passionate about it. I was not going to, again, coach on YouTube at all, but my heart goes out to people who really don't know the answer. That's the only reason that I'm doing this. That's the God's honest truth. Now, before YouTube, the way I started coaching, this is what I should mention. So I did my deep dive and things improved. I'm not going to say that my life became perfect. I think the expectation should be you still will receive challenges in life, but not the same challenges anymore. Challenges you can actually handle because now you have your confidence and you are the golden Buddha who commands the reality. You have a lot more, shall we say, tools in your toolbox to deal with whatever kind of situation, whether rather than being completely lost. Okay, so that's the difference. So don't expect your life to be completely perfect. I don't think that's the destination at all. And again, whoever tells you that or gives you that impression, if it's a coach, even worse, because again, they don't know what they're doing. It is not supposed to be that you're chasing after perfection, is that you feel in control of your life. Is that you feel that you can, whenever you want to, get off your ass and start manifesting on purpose. Or that you know that universe is on your side and whatever you planted and whatever you kind of asked for, whatever your intention was, is going to come true regardless of what other people do or say, kind of situation. That strength, that core, I call it to be like the Central Park oak tree, completely unbothered by waves, by the circumstances, by this, that, and the other. Now, this core is what I train people to have in my coaching because the challenges, they're not going to stop coming. All right. I think it's completely ridiculous to expect of life to not throw challenges your way. I think, again, your soul wants to grow and it grows through challenges and different situations. The fact that you can't handle those challenges right now in the proper way is the whole difference between you and your good golden Buddha self. That's the difference. But expecting to just everything to be stagnant and perfect, first of all, you would get bored of it. Okay, I'm going to tell you this right now. And secondly, it's not sustainable because the universe is always for growth and expansion. And so is your soul. So how I started coaching was in 2015. I had a challenge come up that was, again, if this challenge happened to me, I don't know, 5 years prior to that point, I would not be able to handle it. I just wouldn't. But I did. And in fact, it took me a month versus years of to turn around my energy. Something happened that was unpleasant. I've talked about it on my other channel. But we're just going to kind of keep it short about that scenario right now and just say there was a challenge that wasn't pleasant necessarily. What I chose to do with that is within a month to turn around my energy and start to dive even deeper. Who have I not forgiven? And that was another layer to my evolution that really, I don't know how to explain it. I became somebody else still. I became immovable, unshakable, completely in resonance with my soul. I don't know how else to say it to you guys. I started being vegan around that time, started eating differently, very healthy. I was a different, transformed person. My life was never the same after that incident. Let me tell you that. And soon thereafter, I started coaching because at that time, one of my forever go-to weapons is stand-up comedy. I used to do stand-up as an exercise, as an acting exercise. It was a lot of fun. And so this is how I met my very well-known clients, some of them comedians, some of them actors, some of them singers, okay? Really amazing people who literally told me, you know what, I want you to be my coach because I couldn't stop talking about metaphysics. And it sounded like I knew a lot about it because I did. By that time, I mean, I've researched so many things. When I'm telling you, I was up at night really being obsessed about this person who I really wanted to be. I don't know how else to say it. I really wanted to get back on track and win this game of life. All right. And so people started, it's contagious when you're passionate about things. And so people started asking me if I could be of help. And, I didn't have any idea of like business, how much to charge. But luckily, I figured it all out. And till this day, I have these clients via referral. It's all through word of mouth, etc. And I'm really happy that this happened because, like no time else in my life did I feel more aligned with my purpose than when I was coaching other people. Like for me, I'm a fashion designer as well. I have a couple of other businesses, but you know, doing fashion is so much fun and seeing pretty faces. And I've been in fashion in one capacity or another. I know everything, all aspects of fashion, from corporate to you know visual standards and the merchandising and kind of like the inside and out and the way that it should be presented. My education in fashion is phenomenal. But nothing, nothing brought me more pleasure than to be one on one with a person and discuss their personal issues and actually having the answers to their problem, to have a solution that could help them, and it actually helping them. I was when I had my first sessions with my first clients, I understood the power of this, the power of transferring over the blessing of understanding how this world actually works. And I was so grateful to find that somehow or other I was able to channel these words. Like it wasn't premeditated or anything. Yes, I had the education in the metaphysics and all of that I afforded myself through my own research, but my own words, they came out. It's I don't know how to say it. It's like Michael Jackson said, I almost feel guilty for putting my name on the song because I know it came from above. This channeling, like all the creatives channel. And so did I. And I almost felt like this isn't mine, but I'm channeling it, kind of deal. And all of the expressions that I use, the golden Buddha, the holy shed bananas, the everything came from that. Okay, if you really want to know the truth. Sometimes I think of myself as, and this is gonna be really funny, I think of myself as ratatouille, okay, linguini actually, and with ratatouille in my head or on in my underneath my head, guiding my actions because sometimes it really does feel this way when I'm in the channeling mode. And I've discovered this, well along my coaching practice that I sometimes, like my human mind does not participate. It has departed somewhere. My lips are moving, I'm channeling, I'm in the zone, I'm saying something. I don't know where it's coming from. It's from my higher self, obviously. But it's not premeditated, is what it is. And the words that are coming out are purely like I can zone out with my human mind, but I'm still talking and still making sense and still doing my job. But that's what channeling feels like. Sometimes I don't even remember what I say. True story. Whether that's on camera, off camera, doesn't matter. Whether you're, in coaching, I mean, when I'm channeling the advice that you need for whatever it is you're coming to me with, it goes into, and sometimes I have to interrupt the client and I say, listen, right now, I just have to say this to you because if I don't say it right now, I forget it, which is really true. And it's a very bad idea to interrupt me in coaching. It really is, because I'm gonna forget it and it's for your own good, okay? And I think my purpose ultimately is for people to be, yes, set up with their own goodies in life, SP, what have you, money, career, circumstances, this and that. But I also want you to reestablish this connection with your higher self, to be that golden Buddha, to be that powerful creator who you already are. You have memories, you have glimpses of that potential that you hold within. Every single person that I've ever coached, and by now I've coached thousands. I mean, the last 10 years literally flew by like I don't know what. And I've met so many people, and it's always the same thing. If they realize it or not, it's not important, but it's there. The golden Buddha is there. It's sitting right in front of me, not knowing their potential. That's what it's all about. And I think I'd like to close with this, is that, as I've mentioned, I'm very direct, very honest. I don't know how else to be, and nor do I care to be in any shape or form. I think if my personality resonates with you and you're really hardworking, in that you're coming into coaching not to blah, 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 okay, till the end of time. And I mean this respectfully, because some people just are not in a rush to change their life. I really want to work with people who are very much obsessed with changing their lives, just like I was obsessed with changing mine. That you're not in a rush to get your stuff, is frustrating to me, quite frankly. Okay, that you're kind of like delaying homework, because at the end of each session I do give you homework and I'm expecting you to show up. It's not for me you're doing that. You're doing it for yourself. Okay. But if I see you slacking, if I see you not, cancel meetings, which happened a couple of times in my coaching on YouTube, but only a couple, most people are really, really fucking motivated. And those are the kinds of people I really want to work with, because guess what? Any other way, you're not going to succeed in coaching. So why waste money? It's very simple. And additionally, please get familiar with the coaching agreement. It's a very reasonable, well put together document of all the things that unfortunately I had to encounter on YouTube and do not wish to be a part of. By signing this document, understand that it's a legal document and I will hold you to it. And so if any of those rules are broken in my coaching, I'm a very patient, very polite person, despite of being very direct and truthful. I cherish my clients. I will politely let you know a couple of times. Truth be told, it used to be when I first started on YouTube, oh my God, first time around, first strike, you're out. Okay, a couple of times I've done that because I just don't have the time. All right. I'm a busy person. You're a busy person. Please respect our time together in that sense. But I will be very gentle and very respectful and give you the benefit of the doubt a couple of times. But after a couple of times, literally 2 strikes, okay? I will say to you, this is your last warning. If we cannot agree that you need to follow the rules of the coaching, unfortunately, we will have to part. No drama, panorama. Okay, it's like we just don't belong working together because you have some other agenda. I don't know. Again, I want to plant seeds in other people who are really thirsty for it. And I really want to use my time wisely. And there's only so many clients that I can take on at a time. All right. And do a really good job. And by God, I really am only after doing the most excellent job. I treat you like a Rolls Royce in my coaching. Top to bottom, I reorganize your belief system with your help, of course. You're going to have to be a very, active participant in this situation. In the sense, expect to do your own push-ups. Okay, I cannot do your own push-ups. It's not gonna work. It's not me we're working on here, it's you who we're working on here. If you do this in a signature coaching package, which I recommend 2 to 3 months in it, prior to that, please book a 1 hour session so we can discuss your priorities, your things that you're currently experiencing challenges with, etc., etc., a little bit about your history. But upon conclusion of that session, you're expected to book the package so that I can put you in my schedule. And this is very important. I can't stress this enough. If you do not book, it's like first come first serve, so I have to consider the person who's already booked, and many people pre-book. So as soon as the spot becomes available in my coaching, you replace that person, so to speak. And upon before a week before the expiration of any package, if you're continuing with me, you need to renew a week prior. That's a requirement as well. Again, solely for scheduling purposes, because I just have to manage my schedule properly. There are other coaching packages on my website, like the Pocket Coach, the text-based coaching, the audio exchange, which did very well for a long time on my other channel. It just depends what kind of person you are. If your preference is to be one-on-one with the coach, which is a lot easier, obviously, then go with that. And my belief is that you'll achieve a lot more with the signature coaching package, which is 3 times per week. We rendezvous for an hour via Zoom or via phone call. Okay. Now, if it becomes abundantly clear that you no longer need 3 times per week, then we downgrade you to another package called On the Go. This is 2 times per week. But on average, 2 to 3 months is mandatory for me to help you quantum leap to your next level. There might be another level for you to quantum leap from a year from now, or whenever that might be, a year from that point when you complete the coaching. And some people come back for touch-ups, okay? And it's like 5 sessions. You can use them whenever. You can use them once a week. You can use them once a month. It's not that kind of party anymore. It's not really intense. Although, if you wanted to come back in and have it like a once a month check-in, that's fine too, however you do it. But at that point, usually 99% of the time, people don't need this intense approach anymore, and they have all the tapes and the recordings from our sessions. They rewatch them. It's, it comes in layers sometimes so much information that has been absorbed for 2 3 months, however long you end up in my coaching. It takes a little minute for you to digest all the things that we've covered. It's normal. It's natural. So when you have done that, some people do come back for touch-ups, as I said. And lastly, if you'd like to have messages, audios sent to you directly 3 times per week, 30 minutes long, 20 to 30 minutes long, manifestation audios, I created a book club a couple months ago. And it basically is entry-level coaching. It's $100 a month. You do need to sign the coaching agreement. And it basically is for somebody who wants their manifestation juices flowing all throughout the week, not just when I post a video or a short or whatever. You will need to... not you will need to, I already mentioned the coaching package, the coaching agreement. It's for somebody who wants to still receive the benefits of some kind of coaching, shall we say, because there are elements of coaching there that I mentioned, which is why it is subscription based only. It's a book club. Because quite frankly, on my other channel, I just gotten tired of not giving it all in my audios. Not giving it all. And it's copyright protected writing that will eventually end up in my book. and I want to be able to protect this material for the time being because it's simply because of convenience. It's easier to protect a book rather than a million audios, okay? Which for this subscription, it's 12 audios per month for $100 is a really great deal. Really great deal. And you do get coaching elements in those audios in abundance because, again, 12 audios a month, a book, I don't know how many pages. So you'll get way more information that will ever end up in the book. So this is why it's a book club. I hope this makes sense. If you have any questions about anything that I've just said, or you have a specific question to me about me, you can email me directly below. If there's anything that I haven't covered, please let me know. I'll be happy to answer. Thank you very much for listening. I know this has been long, but I just wanted to cover as much as possible in this one audio so people can get to know me. And again, go check out my other channel, Magic and Miracles. The handle is the plethora and the abundance of audios and videos there if you are curious about my work. Thank you so much. Until next time. Ciao, ciao.